The offseason is one of the most intriguing times of the year for the NBA. During that period, the action takes place off the court as players, agents, and team executives are all trying to make the right decisions to find the right deals and put themselves in a position where they can be successful in the long run. However, the offseason doesn't represent the same thing for everyone. For 29 teams, it represents an opportunity to make transactions that should help build a competitive roster, either immediately or in the long run. But for those who manage to reach the top of the league and win a championship, it turns into a challenge as everyone else attempts to dethrone them. And since defending champions tend to have a well-defined core, it's unusual for them to make too many additions via trade or free agency. But this time around, the Lakers decided to do things differently. And the result is a roster that may be the most talented in the league as they start their quest to repeat. Will they be able to do it? Welcome to Courtside. Today, we'll take a look at the way the defending champs handled the offseason and how it'll affect their chances to raise banner number 18. Before the start of last season, the Lakers had one thing going in their favor. They had the most talented and versatile duo in the league in Anthony Davis and LeBron James. The rest of the basketball world was well aware of it. But when it came to the rest of the roster, there were numerous question marks. After all, outside of the star duo, there was no certainty about how the pieces would fit together. The starting lineup didn't include any other big-time names, and even though both Danny Green and JaVale McGee were both multiple-time champions, they were only role players who wouldn't be asked to score over 15 points per game. And things didn't look any better on the bench. To complete its rotation, Los Angeles would have to rely on declining players with bad reputations, such as Rajon Rondo, Dwight Howard, as well as on talented but unproven talents like Kyle Kuzma, Alex Caruso, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. New coach Frank Vogel was also facing many questions, given that his previous job with the Orlando Magic produced poor results, and his hiring seemed to be nothing more than a backup plan after the team failed to bring Tyronn Lue on board. On top of that, the Lakers were facing a lot of pressure because of the disappointing results obtained during the previous season and the re-signing of Magic Johnson as president of basketball operations. In fact, even LeBron and Davis were facing several questions as the former was coming off the first major injury of his career. Many people thought he would start declining due to his age, and the latter had a long history of injury-related problems. So, while the Lakers had arguably the best duo in all of basketball, it was fair to question how successful they would be, given all the circumstances surrounding the team. But as we all know, the purple and gold came out firing out the door and quickly established itself as the team to beat in the Western Conference, while also remaining close to Milwaukee for the best record in the league throughout the season. Remarkably, Coach Vogel was able to turn the Lakers into one of the best defensive teams in the NBA, while also making excellent use of James's passing skills and Davis's ability to lead the defense while also providing scoring at all levels. Before long, Los Angeles proved to be capable of defeating anyone, and after a slow start during the seeding games inside the Orlando bubble, it managed to play its best basketball of the season when it mattered the most, defeating all of its opponents in the West without too much trouble before taking down the Miami Heat to win the team's 17th championship. But as impressive as that run was, the truth is no one should have expected the team to start the defense of its title with the same roster. After all, last season's supporting cast was put together after Kawhi Leonard rejected the Lakers in favor of the Clippers. By that time, most of the best free agents were already unavailable, and the franchise had no option but to take the pieces that would make the best fit with LeBron, AD, and Vogel's system. And while most of the acquired players did well in their respective roles, it was natural for the front office to look for an upgrade. Rob Pelinka was aware the rest of the league would target his team and do everything possible to build a roster that gave them a chance to beat the Lakers in the playoffs. If he decided to run things back, it would only have been a matter of time before someone managed to do that. So he chose to take a risk and try to improve the roster instead. And to his credit, he did a better job than anyone could have expected. Pelinka and the front office were the first to make a move during the offseason when it was announced the team was expecting to complete a trade that would send Green and this year's 28th pick in the draft to Oklahoma City in exchange for 6th Man of the Year runner-up, Dennis Schroeder. Then a few days later, when the free agency period officially started, the Lakers shocked the basketball world by signing Montrezl Harrell, the player who defeated Schroeder in voting for the 6th Man of the Year award. That wasn't all. LA followed that up by signing sharpshooting guard Wesley Matthews and then completed a series of financial moves that created the space needed to lure Spanish center Marc Gasol out of Toronto. The team rounded out its roster by bringing back key rotation pieces in Markieff Morris and KCP. as well as locker room presence Jared Dudley. However, what has caused the most surprise so far have been two moves in particular, the one that nobody was expecting and the one everybody expects but is yet to come. Seemingly out of nowhere, it was announced the Lakers and LeBron had agreed to a 2-year extension that would see the four-time champion playing in the City of Angels until 2023. Something impressive considering he hadn't played more than 4 seasons with the same team since his first stint with the Cavs. Locking him up means the Lakers will keep being contenders as long as he's healthy. And curiously, the length of his new contract coincides with what could be the start of the NBA career of his son. So it'll be interesting to see whether he tries to play in the same team as Bronny in a few years. Now, the only contract the team is waiting to complete at the time of making this video is the one of Anthony Davis. And while there's no doubt he'll re-sign with the purple and gold, the fact he's taken so long has caught the attention of some people. Some believe his camp and the front office are discussing the possibility of creating enough cap space in the short term so the big man can be paired with a young star. Others considered he's only taking his time evaluating the different offers to determine which one would be better for his financial future. Still, it's clear Davis will be a Laker in the coming season and perhaps even for 2 or 3 more years after that. But let's focus on how the team's newest additions help them compared to last season's roster. Looking back at how the roster performed during its championship run, there were a few things where it was evident the team could make improvements. Among them, the most relevant were playmaking, bench scoring, and a consistent scoring option other than Davis and James. While LeBron led the league in assists, there weren't any other reliable playmakers in the roster during last season. And even though Rondo took a step forward in that regard during the playoffs, his performance during the regular season wasn't enough to fix that issue. Now, that could still be trouble for the team heading into next season considering Rondo's departure and the fact Schroeder has always been a scoring point guard, but Dennis should be able to play more minutes with LeBron than Rajon. And if he's able to create plays for others while James focuses on scoring, playmaking shouldn't be a severe concern. Then when it comes to not having a third scoring option and the low scoring the bench produced, both issues have the same cause. None of the players acquired during last summer was a scoring specialist. Instead, they focused on areas like shooting and playing defense. Kyle Kuzma was expected to emerge as a consistent scoring option behind the star duo, and had that happened, bench scoring would probably have not been an issue. However, his role was very inconsistent throughout the season, and his production suffered because of it. But that's where both Harrell and Schroeder will be of help. As 2 of last season's bench players, according to the media, both are capable of producing excellent numbers as backups on a daily basis. So, assuming Dennis ends up getting promoted to the starting lineup, he could be the third scoring option behind LeBron and AD while Montrezl takes care of scoring as part of the second unit. Last but not least, there are Matthews and Gasol. While both players are already past their primes, they can still have a positive impact on both ends of the floor and should be as good, if not better, than the players they're replacing. In the case of Matthews, he will become this year's version of Danny Green. He'll be tasked with shooting as many three-pointers as possible while playing solid defense on the opposing team's guards. And considering his numbers were almost identical to those of Green during last season, it's safe to say the transition will go smoothly for him. With Gasol, things are a little different. While he's still one of the best defensive anchors in the league, he's not traditional shot-blocking center like Howard or McGee. However, that may not be too much of a problem considering he should play most of his minutes along with Davis and could create one of the most intimidating front courts with AD and James. Then on the other end of the court, he represents a significant upgrade at the center position as he can shoot the ball from anywhere on the court and also has a passing touch that makes him one of the best playmakers at his position. In short, Pelinka and the front office took what was already a very competent team and turned it into one of the most talented and intriguing rosters in the league. In consecutive months, the Lakers became both the winners of the season and the offseason, and that automatically makes them the favorite to win the championship. While other teams will do their best to take the throne away from them, the purple and gold seem to be a step ahead of the competition in the Western Conference, and until someone proves otherwise, everyone will be playing catch-up with the defending champs. But now, what has been your favorite move by the Lakers during the offseason? What other areas do you think they should address during the regular season? Let us know in the comments. We hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you did, remember to like it and subscribe to our channel so that we can bring you more NBA content. We are Courtside.